morning, Lake Ridge, and welcome to our Sunday morning service together. My name's Preston. I'm one of the pastors at Lake Ridge, and I just want to say we are missing you so much. We continue to be apart, and frankly, that still breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because there's so many of you that I know as friends, and we've been able to call and talk to each other, but we've just not been able to see or spend time with each other, and I miss you. Hey, I know that it is hard to try to maintain connections with each other. I have a list that I call different people in our community each week, and as I do, I am sometimes very sad in doing so, because every call I make, I'm reminded of the distance between us. And so be of good courage as you reach out to each other, check in on each other, and make sure that the people in our community are okay. Hey, if you're new to Lake Ridge, welcome. It also kind of breaks my heart that you might even consider Lake Ridge your home community and you've never been at my supper table, or we've not had coffee, or we've not been able to worship together. I welcome you, and I say the day will come that we can meet each other and get to know each other. But welcome, and thank you for reaching out and connecting. Hey, after the service today, we are doing something called Sundays Plus. This is just an online way for us to connect with people who are maybe new to Lake Ridge. And so please be sure to join us for that on a Zoom call after this service. If you're joining us also online live, right on the side, there is a place for comments. We want to say hi to you. And so please be sure to jump in there. God is good. God is with us. God knows where God is leading us. And so we are safe. We have comfort because Jesus is bigger, stronger, wiser, and better than we know. So may we not be people of fear, but may we be people who follow in the way of Jesus and listen to the call of Jesus on our lives and to all of us as a community. So welcome to worship this morning. God is here.
Hey guys, it's Eric here. I'm the youth ministry leader at Lake Ridge. I'm here to welcome you, and if you want to share this video, please do. Leave a comment in the comment section, like the video and all that kind of stuff. Share it out so that other people can see what we're doing out here. That would be really, really great. For the first announcement, we actually have Sundays Plus, which is today. It's going to be a Zoom call after the service at 11:30 a.m. What Sundays Plus is a chance to learn the story of Lake Ridge and a chance to have deeper conversation so we can, deeper conversation than we can on a Sunday morning. So if you're new or, have been here for like a year or two or whatever, or maybe even just a couple Sundays, and are looking to learn more about our values, who we are in the community, and meet some of our leadership, this is a great opportunity to sign up for. So it's not too late. Sign up, lakeridgecommunity.com/next steps, and the Zoom meeting information will be found there. Youth is our next announcement. That is going to be Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Super exciting. We're going to be over Zoom still, and do Bible study and play some games and get to know each other a little bit more and have fun. And yeah, that's going to be on Zoom Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Sign up can be found at lakeridgecommunity.com/youth. And then finally, we thank you for your continued gifts at Lake Ridge. If you'd like to continue to give gifts so we can continue to do what we're doing, that would be really appreciative. You can e-transfer us at giving@lakeridgecommunity.com, or you can send an e-transfer. Send an e-transfer giving@lakeridgecommunity.com. Monthly giving through Canada helps. And if you want more information on giving and what we do and how you can give, you can find that information at lakeridgecommunity.com/give. Thank you so much, and excited that you're here for the service.
Scars are a sign of grace in our lives, and Father, how you brought us through. Deep were the wounds, and dark was the night. The promise of your love you proved.
Now still to come. Let this be our song. It is well. It is well with my soul. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
Weeping may come, remain for a night, but joy will paint the morning sky. You're there in the fast, you're there in the feast, your faithfulness will always shine. Now every blessing still to come, let this be our song.
It is well. It is well with my soul. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. Trust your way. Trust your ways. Trust your name. Trust your name. It is well. It is well with my soul. You lead us through battle. You lead us through battle. You lead us to blessing. You lead us to blessing. And you make us fruitful. And you make us fruitful. The land of our suffering, God. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
Hello, dear friends. Once again, welcome to our worship time this morning. Hey, we've been continuing on this sermon series, and it's called A Long Obedience in the Same Direction. And the series is reflecting on the call of God to us to follow Him, and also our response to the call, and sometimes how we call out to God. There are so many things in this life that are really meant to give us drive, to get us going in the morning. But many of those things don't sustain. And so we need this sense of call, this deeper sense of God's personal invitation to us into the work that God has before us. Sometimes, as a pastor or just even a follower of Jesus, I don't have what I need to follow well, except for this call of God that beckons me out of my fear, beckons me out of my anxieties, my maybe lack or even the lies that might come into my life. God is calling me, and sometimes that's the thing that gets me through. Now, sometimes people might think, oh, well, you're a pastor, you have a calling, and so you know what you're supposed to do for Jesus. You have your tasks set out for you. Well, I wanted this sermon series, as we crafted it and as we've worked through, I hope you've noticed that the sermon series is far less about feeling like you have found your perfect call in life, and more about just the process of responding to God. of listening to God and saying, God, where are you leading me and how do I follow? And so we've decided to end this sermon series by listening to some other voices, by listening to people in our community, folks at Lake Ridge, who I've been in contact with. And as I was praying through this, I invited a few people to talk candidly about their sense of call. And I hope you'll notice in the voices for the rest of this morning is that these are people who have wrestled with their sense of call, who've listened to God, who have responded. And I hope you'll notice in each of their stories that God has been very active in speaking and whispering and journeying along with each of them. So I hope as you listen, you'll get to know people in our community that wrestle with God on their sense of call, who have found peace in their call, and who are kind of midstream in their journey of trusting Jesus for the work they're kind of doing. I would also hope that as you listen, I hope you'll pay attention to God maybe nudging you to think again and to ask again, God, where are you leading me? What is the emerging call that you have in my life, and how do I call out to you? And so I hope you'll enjoy this. There's so many good stories at Lake Ridge, and yours is one of them. So enjoy and welcome this morning.
Hi, Lake Ridge. It's me, Alicia Peterson, and Preston has asked me to talk to you today about what I feel is my calling, which I think is kind of a funny question because I think even as a teacher or a mom, whatever my calling is just to love people like Jesus did. So just be kind to people, whether that's hosting birthday parties on the weekends for kids and teaching them art, or teaching them every day in a classroom or online, or even in our own house with my own kids. So I would say that I first kind of realized my calling when I was a kid. I always wanted to work with kids, whether that was in the nursery at our church or whatever. But right after Matt and I got married, I had just started a job as a receptionist at a car dealership and really hated it. And we were at family camp and knew that we wanted to start a family and those kinds of things. And I don't really know what happened, but I think I was praying and just kind of felt like, okay, well, I'm just going to get more involved in the children's ministry at church. So I went over to Kristen, who was intimidating to me at the time. We were not friends yet. But I knew her and I trusted her and said to her, I think I want to work with you with the kids at our church. And she said, okay, don't tease me. And, we'll see what happens. And then a couple weeks later, they offered me a job being the assistant at the preschool and part-time children's ministry director with Kristen. So that's kind of where it all started, this whole thing working with kids. Later in my life, I took a couple other paths working with kids, and started my degree to become a teacher, and then kind of went down a different road and was always working with kids until we sold our business at Four Cats. And I was trying to figure out if working in a school was the right thing for me. So I went back and was an EA, and really loved that, but wanted to have a little bit more, autonomy in terms of like making my relationships with the kids. As an EA, there was some kind of like restrictions that they put on you just for like legal reasons or whatever. And so I went back to get my degree to be a teacher. And I really feel like that is what I'm supposed to be doing, these interactions with kids every day, whether it was in the classroom or this year I'm online. I just feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. And the rewarding part of my job is, I think, what affirms the calling part of it for me. One of the other things that really affirms that this is my calling, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I'm sure some of you feel like this, but oftentimes I feel overwhelmed about the bad things that are happening in the world, and I feel helpless, like I can't change them. They just feel really big. especially when there's a lot of divisiveness and conflict and stuff happening, like even in our own province. And it really helps me to think about how I can make a difference just by raising my own 2 humans to be good, loving people. But then I also get to raise up 30 other humans every year, and try and help them to be good people, like good citizens of the world who can see things differently than maybe what they were taught earlier. Try to dispel some things, or like even just question some of their thoughts that they don't even realize have undertones of racism in them and things like that. So yeah. Anyway, teaching is my calling. It took me a while to get there. I'm so glad I did. And I also am open to the fact, or whatever, that it might change. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye.
How would you describe your sense of call? What would you say your call is, or what are you called to do? I don't know. I even went as far as doing a Google search to check on what is a purpose, like what is a true English definition of what a calling or what a purpose is. And I read that and I understood it, but I still didn't get my answer of what is Nwabisa's calling. You know, I went through university thinking that I will just, be a career person, focus on that. If kids or marriage happen, they'll happen, but I'll be there, maybe just totally focus on my career, because maybe I thought that's what I'm called to do, Maybe I even went as far as saying that is my calling. I don't know, but I became a mom, and I thought, okay, as I was going through this week, trying to understand this calling, that, okay, maybe, this is, I am called to be a mom. And I started thinking, what happens when poop analysis is not part of my everyday life anymore? What happens if they finally get it, say please and thank you? So I was like, okay, I don't know then what my calling is, because I thought that was it. I truly thought that was it, because I guess I understand a part of being called, you are, a servant, you're supposed to be humble. And I just thought motherhood is the most humbling, most just the level of servanthood you can get, right? But I honestly don't know. And I am still seeking God in it, and I'm still seeking his direction. And I just hope by the end of this sermon series, I fully get it. It finally hits me, but in all of that, I think I was reminded that God causes everything to work together for good of those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. And that's my prayer. I pray that I discover what God is calling me to do. May I not miss it. In the midst of trying to discover it, may I not miss what he's calling me to do. And I know that in the book of Philippians, it says, for God is working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. And I know in my heart, and God knows in my heart, I want to please you, Lord. I want to please him. So maybe that's my calling, just to do my best at pleasing him. And yeah, I'm trying to discover my calling. And if you know what your calling is, feel free to share with me or lead me in the direction. I don't know, but that's me. I don't know what my calling is, and I'm praying and hoping on the Lord to reveal to me. Thank you. Bye.
So the baptism, Epiphany on the Jordan. Beginning here, We glimpse the three in one. The river runs. The clouds are torn apart. The Father speaks. The Spirit and the Son reveal to us the single loving heart that beats behind the being of all things and calls and keeps and kindles us to light. The dove descends. The Spirit soars and sings, "You are beloved. You are my delight." In that swift light and life, as water spills and streams around the man like quickening rain, the voice that made the universe reveals the God in man who makes it new again. He calls us, too, to step into that river, to die and rise and live and love forever. So, over to you, Steve.
Heaven split and the water spilled and streamed around that man like a quickening rain. A quickening rain. The word behind our world revealed that God in man makes everything new again. New again. This word of God to his beloved settled on me like a dove. He calls us to step into that river, to die and rise to life and love forever. And so graciously extends to me, a sinner, to tread the sacred waters of this mystery of love. What can be said about a mystery, except to say that the last word can never be said, never said. Best leave that to poetry, kindling words for quickening the dead, the living dead. Pure single heart behind all things, each to the other by the Spirit sings. He calls us to step into that river, to die and rise to life and love forever. And so graciously extends to me, a sinner, to tread the sacred waters of this mystery of love. He calls us to step into that river, to die and rise to life and love forever. And so graciously extends to me, a sinner, to tread the sacred waters of this mystery of love. Ooh. Split and the water spilled and streamed around that man like a quickening rain, a quickening rain.
I started doing bivocational ministry about 2005, 2006. I had been working in a couple of different churches, so I was a teacher. I was a full-time teacher, and started to feel this pull to ministry, and wasn't sure if I should go into full-time ministry or I didn't know what that looked like. So I was doing bivocational ministry, and the longer I did it, the more I felt this pull. I guess you could call it a call into full-time ministry, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know, and so my wife and I started exploring a few different opportunities. We talked about planting a church. We'd gone on this journey about looking at planting a church. I'd even talked about planting a church out in Victoria. We were going to a different church at the time, and at that time, this church was all about planting churches. It was kind of their main focus, and so we weren't sure if that's what it was going to be. We were actually offered a position with a ministry called Next Level International, and we were asked to go and help plant some churches over in Russia and Eastern Europe. And we looked at it and thought about it. It meant moving over to England. It was going to be a huge change, and ultimately we ended up saying no. And there was this little place called Camp Chestermere that just kept knocking on the door a little bit. I actually originally applied to be in the position of assistant director, which is the position that Colin holds now. And so we were asked to come and do that. And I actually said no. I had been a guest speaker here since 2011, had been through all the changes of the 7 directors in 5 years, and just felt like maybe we were supposed to go there. Maybe we were supposed to go to Camp Chestermere and bring some stability, and we applied, and we were offered the position of assistant director. And like I said, we ended up saying no to that position. And then a few months later, the director who was here at that time, he resigned from the position, and Camp came calling again. And this time we accepted. And that was back in 2014. And we just felt called. We just felt like this is where we were supposed to be. This is what we were supposed to do. We felt like we were given a word, potential. And we felt like this place had such potential for change, such potential to impact the community, such potential to be a difference in the community of Chestermere, that we just decided to say yes and to come and to be here. And that word potential has never gone away. It hasn't always been easy here. It hasn't always been the smoothest journey. I was actually talking to a camp director at the end of last week who said this. He said, he goes, sometimes when you go into full-time ministry, all the warm and fuzzies that you feel about Jesus get sucked out of you by the people who should share the same warm and fuzzies about Jesus. And it's true. Sometimes this call that I feel to come and be and to do and to be a part of this ministry that is Camp Chestermere hasn't always been easy. But we feel that we are where we are supposed to be. And what does that look like? It's because that word potential has never changed. We just feel like we are supposed to come and to lead and to be a part of an organization that is a gift to the community of Chestermere. And so what gets us through the hard times is just that word potential, that we feel like we haven't achieved the thing or done the thing that we've been called to do. And what's interesting about that is I couldn't even define it. I'm not even sure that I could be, like, if you nailed me down and asked me to define what is the thing that you are supposed to do, I don't know. I just know that I'm supposed to come and to lead and to find ways in which that this organization can be a gift to the community of Chestermere.
Hi, Lakeridge. I'm going to talk about calling today. I like how the language has been that calling is a long obedience in the same direction. And I think that's true in my life. I think that as Christ followers, we all have kind of a universal calling in that we are to follow Christ, and we are to love God and to love others. And within that, we are also children of God, and that is who we are. But I think within that kind of universal calling, we can have individual callings that God uses to direct us in different places. I think for me, those callings have changed in some ways over my life, and I'm sure that they will continue to change. So, for example, I was a teacher before I had my children. I taught for 6 years or so, and I really felt that that was where I was supposed to be at that time. I did run away from that calling for a while. My mother was a teacher, and I kind of felt like I didn't want to follow in that role for some reason. But as I went into my first year of university, I thought I was going to be a scientist. And I pursued those kinds of courses. And it took a little bit of failure to show me that that was actually not the right direction for me. Also, though, I didn't find any passion in it. It was not, as it turned out, my interest. So God directed me through that kind of tough year to rethink who I was and what I was good at. And over the course of time, he showed me that teaching actually was something that I was good at and had already been doing, because I always was teaching my friends, I was tutoring, so it was natural. And when I finally went into teaching, it was truly the right fit for me, but it took a while to get there. Right now, my calling is mostly motherhood. And I think that that is a beautiful calling, and I don't do the greatest job of it every day, but I do think that it is the calling that I have right now. And I will have that calling for my life, but I think that I will have probably other callings with it. People ask me all the time, do I think I'll go back to teaching? And I don't know. I actually don't know. I have to wait for God's direction on that. But for right now, I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be in teaching and mothering my